So this man right here, his name is Neil Breen, and he is one of the greatest people to have ever been born. And I'm not just saying that to be funny. Okay, yeah, maybe I am just saying that to be funny. But the reason why this man is so great is because he has the ability to make movies that are so bad to actually come out great. Ever since I was introduced to this man about 2 weeks ago, and I made a movie review for his movie called Fateful Findings.
I've got so much to do, I'll never get done. I'm going to continue hacking into these government systems to see what I can find out about all this national and international corruption I know is going on.
I've been on a Neil Breen kick, and you would understand why I'm talking so highly of him if you ever sat down and actually watched one of his movies from beginning to end. Spoiler alert, you would realize that he is a genius. And the method behind his madness is that he is the director, producer, writer, editor, and main star of his own movies. So therefore, he has the creative control from beginning to end. He has a hand-on process in every step of the way. And you have to watch one of his movies to understand why he needs so much control.
I'm done talking.
Really?
It's just genius. Like, you wouldn't tell Picasso how to write a painting. You shouldn't tell Neil Breen how to make a movie. So the first movie that I watched happened to be called Fateful Findings. It was just random. It's the first one that was suggested to me. But what I did notice is that Fateful Findings was released in 2013. So maybe Neil got better, you know, because he does have a movie called Twisted Pair that came out in 2018, which is a whole 5 years. So he's been producing movies this whole time, only getting better in the process, as I assume. So he had a whole 5 years to perfect a movie that's even better than Fateful Findings. So this should be really good. But after watching the movie in its entirety, boy. And if you would like to know what I think about the movie, then this is the perfect opportunity for you to press that like button and stick around, because I'm gonna give you my full and honest review of this movie. Okay? So the movie's title is Twisted Pair. It's a movie about AI being so strong that it could defeat evil throughout the world. And there's also two twin brothers that get abducted when they're very young, and they kill a bunch of oligarchs. Okay, like that's like the summary of the movie. It's really not that hard to understand. But somehow, Neil Breen managed to almost make this movie 2 hours long. And the reason why the movie is almost 2 hours long is because right in the beginning, they don't hide it. They drag scenes longer than they need to be. I mean, the cutscenes in Fateful Findings were also longer than they needed to be, but it's almost like Neil was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna make these ones even longer, less rewarding. Because when you have cutscenes like that, like if you drag on a whole scene, the reward should be there. Like, drag reward. But there's no reward. There's absolutely no reward. The reward is that you get to see this movie and how this movie goes down from beginning to end, because the story in some spots just doesn't make any sense. All right, so the movie begins with these two twin brothers that you come to find out that had a pretty normal childhood, and they loved each other and they had a pretty normal life, right? But then one day they went to the beach and they got selected by this thing that we don't know what it is, but it has like a weird looking face. Is it an alien? Let's find out.
A force had taken us. We were separated from our family. As time went on, we were subjected to reprogramming of our DNA and cells, making us more humanoid with superior powers. The pace of AI intelligence is incredibly fast. It is growing at an exponential pace. We were given missions by the superior entity to fight for good and defeat the evil in humanity, using our superior powers. Although we were treated equally and programmed identically, my twin brother Kale was not successful in his missions over the years. The Force eventually decided to remove his powers and release him.
Oh, so it was an alien, and the alien installed AI into both Neil and his twin brother that's also played by Neil. And these aliens, what they do is they remodify both of their DNAs, so they both can become these AI humanoid things. Now, you might not be familiar with what the term humanoid is, so I did you the favor of Googling it, and turns out that a humanoid is somebody with a human-like posture, but isn't a human per se. Okay. Anyway, so as the movie goes along, they really emphasize that both of these brothers were giving AI-like superpower abilities. But not so much the twin brother that's also played by Neil. He didn't really succeed at completing that many missions or completing them that well, so they fired him. You know, being abducted at a young age when you were at the beach with your family is whatever. But if you're not good at being good at what we abducted you to be good at, then we gotta let you go, bro. We can't believe that we even gave you a chance. So unlike Fateful Findings, which most of the shots were actually shot in like scene rooms or like actual like locations, this movie utilizes green screen a little bit too much. Like they went a little bit way too hard with the green screen on this one. A little bit too much liberty there, Neil. I mean, maybe it's because he has to play both of the brothers' roles, so it was kind of hard to get them in the same scene at the same time. But they're not even together that many times in the movie. And still, the movie is about 75% green screen. And my thing about the whole green screens in this movie is that they're really bad and they're really dragged to the point that maybe Neil just realized that it doesn't matter how bad the green screens and how dragged it is, people will still come flocking to his movies, because at this point he was able to build like a cult-like following. Because I'm sorry, I just didn't feel like you had the same passion in this one as you did in Fateful Findings.
His flame was put out. The final time I saw Kale broke my heart. Although we were now humanoids, I still felt a bond and love for him as my brother.
As my brother, don't get it confused now. And when I'm talking about the green screen effects in this movies are super long, check out this scene right here of him petting a hawk.
AI will never replace the pure majesty of nature. While developing further and further in a humanoid state over the years, I never wanted to lose touch with the magic and majesty of nature and the gifts it had given me.
This scene is so abysmally long that I had time to take out my phone and go on Twitter, watch a couple videos, get lost in a couple people's funny tweets, look back at the screen, and it's still the same scene.
Good morning. Have a nice day.
Oh hi, have a nice day. Okay, just so that we're clear, since he's an AI intelligence, well, he has the ability to fly somehow. And then he also has the ability to save army men in an exploding building that he escapes out of, and the building explodes, and then he goes back in, and the army men, well, they're unscathed somehow.
Wait. Let me go first. I'll protect you. I'll protect you.
Yeah, just follow him, army man. Make sure that he goes first. You can't get hurt that way. It's almost as if Neil is a video game character in this movie, right? Like, look at the way that he's walking. How is a man that's walking like that gonna protect men from an explosion? How? Well, we don't really get to see how he stops it. We just get told that he's an unstoppable force, and that he fully accepts his superpowers.
I'm unstoppable and I fully accept these powers.
And then it cuts to the scene where he gets given this thing that's called the Programmable digital reality, but the corrupt version. Oh, shockers! If only they explained what that is. They don't. Ever again in this movie. This is the only time they ever bring this up. Instead, they just cut into a scene of his twin brother missing his older brother. I don't know. It was very confusing beyond this point in the movie because you don't really get told that this is the twin brother, you just get told that he misses his brother. But then comes along probably the most epic scene in the whole movie. There's a bunch of people having a business meeting and you have to hear what they're talking about.
A crisis. Programmable virtual reality.
We have evidence of the largest cyber and terror attacks ever planned.
Programmable DNA.
This is very serious.
Homeland Security is ready.
We are on the verge of mind hacking.
Programmable matter.
We will all be connected.
Now, usually in a business meeting, people don't just sit around a desk and just yell out bulletin points. They usually have to talk about the bulletin points too. Maybe the only person that made sense in there was the guy that said that Homeland Security is ready. But besides that, it sounds to me like they were just blabbing out futuristic technology and one-upping each other constantly. Was any of what they even said really productive? That's not how you have a productive meeting, which is why I give that meeting a 0 out of 5. Tune in next week to find out what I give somebody else's meeting in Yoel Fixes Your Business Meetings.
Oh, Jesus.
Shoot.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's okay, I got it.
No. Here, let me get that for you.
Hey, shoot.
Wait,
Gosh
it's my
darn
fault.
it.
It's
No,
my
no.
fault,
Give
really.
me my
I
paper.
apologize.
Just leave me alone.
Let me make
Leave
it
me
up
alone.
to you.
No.
I'll take
You're
you
a
out to
creep.
dinner.
Leave me alone. I have a boyfriend.
Let's have
Get
it.
out of my
Let's have a
face. Leave
drink.
me
Let's
alone.
have a drink.
Leave me alone.
Let's have
I
a
have
drink.
a boyfriend.
I'll meet
Get
you
out of my
back here at
face.
8 o'clock
Get out of
and
my
we'll go out and have a drink. I'll meet you here at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. Maybe later when she's like at the library or maybe cooking food for her family, maybe she'll be like, you know what? Maybe I should go and meet that man at 8 p.m., the one that bumped into me, and aggressively try to, take me out to dinner. What's the worst that could happen, right? Like, come on, just meet up with him. Well, obviously she doesn't show up. Well, don't worry, because the main character of the movie doesn't take no for an answer. Like, seriously, he doesn't take no for an answer. He sees her walking down the street later during the movie and thinks that it's perfectly acceptable to just follow her home.
Hey, that's the girl I met earlier. I'm going to go follow her.
And if that's not creepy enough, he then breaks into the house and proceeds to force himself upon this girl while aggressively telling her that he told her to be there at 8 p.m. and now he has to do this.
I'm going to hurt you now. You're mine now. I'll teach you to ignore me. You were supposed to meet me at 8. Bitch. You can't resist me now. What's for dinner?
Your favorite. Mom called today.
I feel like if the average person were to try to do that, they would end in prison, not a prisoner of love. So as the movie progresses, we also come to find out that there is a guy in a hoodie that took hostage these 3 businessmen. So the man in the hoodie is doing vigilante work while the main character is just falling into deep love.
I've reserved this entire restaurant just for the 2 of us. I hear the food is spectacular. The service is impeccable. It's just friggin' invisible.
Don't you just love a really good love story? But don't get too comfortable because just like butter, the man wearing the hoodie's identity gets revealed. And it's no other than the main character's twin brother that's being played by the same actor, Neil Breen. Who saw that coming? And just in case you might get confused, don't worry, the twin brother is wearing a mustache and also has a beard. They got you covered.
We're different. No, I'm different. I don't have what you have. But you could have. At one time. But you threw it away. You let it go.
Amazing dialogue, 10 out of 10. So at this point in the story, we get introduced to Kos. And Kos is an artist that's about to take over the world by taking over humanity's life sources. And it's the main character's job to stop him from doing so. So he gets a brand new identity of being an art collector / investor so that he can be an art collector with Kos and then invest in his future plans to take over humanity's life sources. Do you see how this is coming full circle? So since Kos is this big time artist mobster guy, he sits in his backyard as the main character approaches him to let him know that he's really interested in investing in some art, but also he could help him in his business. You know, being undercover? And you know, Kos, for being a genius that's able to take over humanity's life resources, well, he could have briefed the main character a little bit better. He just lets him hop on to his plans to take over the world like nothing could go wrong. How is this man gonna take over the world if he fell for the oldest trick in the book? Yeah, well, I guess don't really worry about that, because the main character finds the HQ and he goes all silly-nilly in there and bypasses these security guards that are dressed a little bit weird. I do say so the least. But then he comes into a room full of Dell computers and has this realization.
In AI, fright and interest are not far from each other. Things can become real in your mind, and you believe things you wouldn't ordinarily believe.
It then proceeds to him just running around the building with the world's most unnecessary, longest B-roll shots, just for him to wind up in a meeting with Kos. And this meeting, quite frankly, it was so unproductive that I'm gonna have to give it a 0 out of 5. Tune in next week to find out what I give somebody else's business meeting in a brand new episode of Yoel Fixes Your Business Meeting. So then Neil, since he doesn't have a choice, plants a bunch of bombs around the HQ and just proceeds to exit the place like a total badass, while Kos listens to the explosions on the phone like a real cuck. So had the movie ended there, it would have been a perfect finish for the movie, right? But nope, this is a Neil Breen production movie. It can't be no Neil Breen production movie without an epic love story into it, and it's at this point in the movie that Neil's heart gets broken, because the girl that he was falling in love for in the beginning of the movie, well, he finally gets told the information that she actually works for the opposition. Yeah. His heart shambles. So then, just like Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, Neil Breen made his own epic love scene where they have a standoff.
It's a lonely life. It's a lonely world.
Kay. I knew you wouldn't join us. It was only business. Had to do it.
Only business? I'm so sorry. You're breaking my heart.
And now that Neil finally defeated the evil Kos, well, the world can rest easy knowing that nobody is going to take their precious life resources. And that weird looking thing that was in the beginning of the movie when they abducted both of the twins, well, it comes back and Neil and it stare each other into the soul. Love and peace, baby. Love and peace. So what do I give this movie? Well, I'm gonna have to be honest. I don't think it was as good as Faithful Findings. I don't even think it was nowhere near as good as Faithful Findings at all. Like, I wouldn't even compare both movies. It feels like this one was almost half-assed, honestly, because of all the green screen effects and, like, I guess one person edited it from beginning to end, and that person probably happens to be Neil Breen. But, I did still feel that signature Neil Breen effect in this movie. And just because of that, I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 5. But as far as for the productivity in this movie goes, I'm gonna have to give it a 0 out of 5, because the productivity in every one of those meetings just wasn't there. Tune in next week to find out why I review somebody else's business meeting and help their business in a brand new episode of Yoel Fixes Your Business Meetings. Oh, and like the video. If you made it this far, could you please like the video? Thank you.